our first topic of the day. Palantir and Accenture, and Dom, I'll let you talk first on this. They've launched a partnership of 1,000 foundry experts in an innovation studio. I'll read a quote from the press release. We're now excited to announce a new partnership between Palantir and Accenture, highlighting the force multiplier Palantir Foundry represents to Accenture's clients. Accenture Applied Intelligence is working with Palantir to build an innovation center, the APS, Accenture Palantir Studio, housing over 1,000 experts on Foundry, Palantir's flagship software, who will build and design new cutting-edge solutions. With the creation of this new innovation center, we're talking about what innovation means right now. Accenture will be expanding their capabilities in Palantir Foundry to bring newfound value to their clients. Accenture has 91%, or right here, their current clients include 91 of the Fortune 100 and 3/4 of the Fortune Global 500. So when we're talking about innovation and Palantir being an innovative company in a space that's growing, Dom, can you speak to what you thought this partnership with Accenture is gonna do for the company?
Yeah, so I believe they already had partnerships with Deloitte. They now have the Accenture one. We also got the announcement of Carahsoft, and I'll explain why that's so huge as well. They are in mass scale mode, right? They are now ready to pull back the covers and say, we're here, we're ready, we are full-time going in, and we are committing to more of the general technology culture that it is of software sales. We've heard Carp say, hey, we don't need salespeople, we don't need marketing. Now we see the flip-flop, and we see a ton of sales guys being added, and they're pumping the press, they're getting in interviews, they're working with people like Accenture and Deloitte, who are and IBM, who are known for being enterprise consultants. So what this does is this allows them to scale without having to hire all those heads. You don't have to pay the stock-based compensation for those people. Instead, they're Accenture employees learning the platform, evangelizing, consulting. And then when they did the Carahsoft partnership, what was so unique about that is that's a distributor. Like VMware works with them. Like everybody works with Carahsoft in the government because they're known to be a very easy to do work with distributor. And that tells you that their product and modularizing Foundry, they're ready to get transactional, which is exciting. It's almost like they're laying the groundwork to be more transactional. So it'll be interesting to see what that customer account growth happens in the next 12 months.
Christian, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think, touching on some previous comments, the macro is so clear. It's so inevitable that, as you stated, the growth rate of data is going to grow like at exponential rates. It's not linear. It's really exponential growth. And I think, as from like an investor standpoint, it's understanding which company is going to best capitalize. And for me, that's Palantir. So just leading on from what you're saying, I haven't been this bullish on Palantir ever. And I think my conviction is continually growing. They're doing everything that I'm wanting them to do. And with this recent venture and the recent ventures we've seen, it just indicates that they're focusing on modularity. They're focusing on selling the product, which we know is a historical bottleneck for the company. I've never heard of any complaints when it comes to Palantir software. The issue that I think is evident, and we all agree on, I believe, is the fact that they have a bottleneck within Salesforce. So when we see these ventures, it's the best thing for investors, and it indicates that Palantir are focusing on modularity. They're focusing on distribution, and I think it's important to understand we're not going to see these results, within the next quarter. This will be showing within, perhaps end of year. We'll see some evident examples of how these ventures are now improving their distribution, and therefore will impact their customer acquisitions quarter over quarter. So yeah, I'm really excited, and once again, I haven't been this convicted upon the company for a long time.
One of the things I want to highlight about this additional partnerships is, and Dom knows this because he's in software sales, you need to have that inside connection to get you through the door, right? You need to have someone on the other side say, yes, I trust this person, or I trust the company that they work for. We had long-standing relationships with them. They've never done us dirty. So one of the things that I know that even with Palantir developing their own sales force, it's really hard to be a brand new company, go into a business or an organization and say, hey, we have this great product. right? Because they're going to say, well, what is Palantir? Who is Palantir? We've never worked with you guys before. You guys don't have a service contract with us. You don't have a business agreement with us. And that's very important because all those agreements have been done for so long already. So now if you have a partner in someone like IBM, who's been a solutions provider, if you have someone like Accenture, Deloitte, all the big consulting companies, they have that trust factor already built in that, hey, this company is not going to sell us some vaporware, right? Whereas, trust me, we have a ton of vendors come through our door trying to sell us the next greatest product in the world. Everyone and their mother, they say, oh, you just get this software. We'll even give it to you for free for a year. The service contract is free. We use it. It's dog shit. And now we just spent all this time, resources, money, and training on people. Training is a huge cost because I deal with it. That now you just can't get back, right? So a lot of organizations, they're like, listen, you're the 10th guy to walk through my door today. What makes you different? So that partnership with Accenture, that partnership with Carahsoft, that gives you that additional credibility that you need to get your product in the door. And then once people are using it, what ends up happening is that level of confidence starts building out, right? And then other people in the industry are going to start to kind of adopt it as well. So I think these partnerships are big. That's actually, I think, bigger than the Salesforce hiring. Local Salesforce hiring is a good idea. Don't get me wrong, but you definitely need channel partners to push your product to help you out, So maybe Dom, you want to speak to that a little bit?
I was laughing because I lived this world for over 20 years, and you hit on such a key thing that people are not paying attention to unless you work in this world of software sales and Twitter is a Carahsoft relationship with their Carahsoft rep could be 5-10 years. CDW or Accenture, there are customers that have went to their reseller's wedding or whatever it may be. They're that close in relationship and service that will mean a lot more from Johnny on the spot come and say, hey, you need to check this Palantir out, versus the Palantir guy saying, hey, I'm here. We got the best stuff on the block. You haven't heard of us, but let me just show you and you'll buy.
Dom, I'll give you guys a really funny example. I actually spoke to a sales rep from Palantir. And I gave them the keys to the kingdom. I said, look, I cannot advocate for you from my organization, but I can point you into the right direction. This is the person that you need to talk to. I spoke to that person about a couple of days ago. I said, hey, man, what happened? I gave you this information 2 months ago. Did you reach out? And they're like, the guy never even called me back. I've been trying to reach out to him on multiple platforms. Nothing, right? I said, you know what? You need to reach out to this other company, which I'm not going to name because they're actually working together now. Guess what? Now they actually have a meeting set up because you have a channel partner who we have a really strong relationship with that's going to be able to actually vouch for you to get you through that door.
It's cosigns. Like when you to do a little hip hop reference, Drake wasn't Drake until Lil Wayne put him on a mixtape, and Lil Wayne was a god in rap before Drake. It's warm introductions. It's not what you do, it's who you know. And with a company like Palantir that's trying to grow exponentially, like Accenture, they work with everybody. Everybody works with Accenture. So if Palantir, that's why the weird thing was this innovation studio with 1,000 Foundry experts. I mean, I had never heard of a partnership where you get 1,000 people that are experts at Foundry that are able to work with clients in real time to modularize Foundry for them and provide them solutions. This was huge news for me. I mean, I think it was great. And we knew about this in November. I think now it's official, but seems like it's
one other thing to Chris's point that we want to make sure to hit on. It's great when you get the customer, but the other key facet piece is you have to be able to show realized valuation, time to value quickly in a relationship and prove out what you sold them and get that ROI. And then if you do so, you will then get the trust to get that expansion contract, that next department, that next level CIO introduction for more larger purchases. This is what they do so well. That's why I keep hitting on contribution margin, because there's no other software company I've ever seen with this kind of sales model of we're going to lose money on acquire. We're going to then expand and go into other departments, and we're going to finally make a little bit of money over 100K contracts. And then we're going to show you so much realized time value with everyone else. We've done our part. Now you got to give us the big contract, right? In the scale phase. And then they keep getting the renewals. And so that is what is so impressive with that 130% net revenue expansion.
There is one downside to these partnerships, though, and I hope everyone remembers this. You definitely are going to see margin compression because your total gross is going to have to be sacrificed a little bit. Okay. What that means is, you think Accenture is doing all this for free? You think all these companies are saying, yeah, we're going to sell your product for free? No, they're going to sell your product. They're going to support your product. They're going to get experts on board to help the companies get their product out there, get your product out there. But guess what? They're also going to be charging.
But if the gross margins are 80%, how much of a compression?
And I'm glad exactly that you said that, because that's the point right there. You can try to grow organically over the next 10 years, or you can get a partner like this in 2 years, grow the same amount, but you're sacrificing some of that margin, right? The key to Palantir's value proposition here is that Palantir has so much margin to play around with. They have an 80% gross margin right now. So it's almost like, hey, I'm not only making 20%, where if I sacrifice 5%, it's going to be a big hit to me. They got literally 80% of that revenue. 80% of that gross margin if they were to giving up 10, 20, 30. It just kind of depends on the partnership, how close they are aligned. These are all contracts that are done on the back end. But one of the things that I think we're definitely going to see is margin compression from Palantir, but growth is going to explode.
But that's what they need, right? So we know that they have margin growth, expansion capabilities in their contribution margin model. We know that they are going to grow and expand in larger contracts. What they need now is the hook. I need more fishermen out there throwing bait who have those trusted relationships. So let's scale. And Accenture has global relationships, right?